Hello everybody. So, FCSB then. No, not a final hand of Scrabble which sees you desperately scanning the board for an unencumbered vowel, but the result of lots of lucrative overtime for the Romanian legal profession over the rightful ownership of the name Steaua Bucharest. Now pay attention. In the beginning there was CS Steaua Bucharest. This was the sports club of the Romanian army. They plodded on happily enough, becoming the first European outfit to win the European Cup in 1986, spending 120 minutes playing for penalties before beating Terry Venable's Barcelona 2-0 in the penalty shootout, with the Steaua keeper saving all 4 spot kicks he faced. Then in 1989 stuff happened. Non-football stuff. Nominally a socialist republic, as is the usual case with these things, the public had little say in what went on in Romania, other than to scream loudly, of course, when the secret police turned up the voltage. However, the rest of Eastern Europe had by then ditched the Marxist, Leninist, Communist, whateverist setup that had existed since the end of World War II. Romania was the last country to fall, and whilst most countries managed to change relatively peacefully, Mr. and Mrs. Ceausescu, who were effective dictators at the time, found their leadership abruptly terminated on Christmas Day by virtue of a firing squad. Now, although in the grand scheme of things there were more urgent priorities than football for the Romanian public at the time, when the dust settled, the army effectively owned a football club. This didn't sit well with the new regime, which was privatising stuff left, right and centre. An opportunity was spotted and the football club was hived off from the rest of the sports club and placed in private hands. Eventually the Ministry of Defence piped up and claimed ownership of the name and honours, particularly since they wanted to set up their own club to replace the one that left, which is why our opponents are called FCSB. They did manage to hold on to the UEFA coefficient points though, which is nice work if you can get it. The Romanian League is one of those leagues which has a regular and a post-season. The top 6 qualify for a 10-match league, carrying forward half the points that they had at the end of the regular season. Nobody knows why. FCSB finished 14 points behind Cluj in the regular season. When the post-season finished, they were but a single point shy of them. This was enough to qualify FCSB for the second qualifying round of the Thursday night Conference League. This they negotiated by beating Sabulato Tbilisi 4-2 at home, having lost the first leg in Georgia 1-0. Slovakians DAC were dispatched 1-0 in both legs in the next round. In the playoff round, they overturned a 2-1 deficit from the first leg against Viking Stavanger, winning 3-1 to get through to the group stage, which is where we are now. All of which will have been a welcome distraction from their domestic start, where their 1 win in 7 has seen them languishing in 13th spot, which is 4th from bottom. All in all, a far cry from the Steaua side that we played in the past, and a long, long way from the top table at Europe. Captain, and so far top scorer, is winger Florinel Koeman. He's been capped at full level by the Romanian national side, though with 5 caps in the last 3 years he's not been what you'd really call a regular. Daisy tells me he has a bit of pace, and he's usually employed on the left-hand side. Daisy also tells me that his Facebook page compares him to Kylian Mbappe, though I think that might just be a bit of optimism on the part of the writer. Like us, they've picked up an Italian striker this summer, though the pedigree of Andrea Compagno suggests a bit of a difference in class in favour of our Scamacca. A list of clubs for whom Compagno has played in Italy includes the sort of place whose inhabitants are probably unaware that they had a football club in the first place. Even at that level he didn't make much of an impression, only hitting double figures in a season once he popped over the border into San Marino, scoring 33 goals with Tre Fiori. This brought him to the attention of Romanians Craiova, for whom he scored 24 goals in 57 games. He made the switch over to Bucharest this close season for €1.5 million. The addition of an interest fee of 10% suggests that the Romanian league isn't exactly awash with funds at the moment. He's scored once this season. Let's move on, shall we, to the wild and wacky world of association football. I'll deal properly with the dreadful state of refereeing in this country, again, in more detail in my look at the visit of the Geordies later on this week. However, all I will say this time out is, I told you so. Putting referees in charge of referees was always the worst idea ever. In 25 years, the PGMOL has served only to protect the ever-growing numbers of incompetent officials in this country from the consequences of their actions. Now I hear the Premier League have summoned PGMOL to explain its members' decisions this weekend. A welcome move, if perhaps 21 years too late. PGMOL has said it intends to fully cooperate with the inquiry, like they're doing us a bit of a favour. Sorry, but the sooner PGMOL is scrapped and replaced by an FA-run body with a proper assessment of officials, the better. Let's move on to us, and I'll comment more on our league results in the appropriate place and move on to the injuries straight away. Orgard and Johnson are definite non-starters. The status of Dawson, who we here are happy at least to see stay, is a bit less certain, but he may be near a return to the squad. Skamaka will hopefully have recovered from that which ails him, which will be a definite plus point if he's fit, because I reckon European nights are made for him. Cresswell is also nearer to return than he was on Saturday, whilst Rice has now completed his suspension for a breach of the Official Secrets Act. As for a prediction, I'll be erring on the side of optimism for this one. They're not nearly the strength of their predecessor club, as evidenced by their average gates of around 10,000, which rattle around a stadium capable of carrying about 50,000 or more. European matches can sometimes be a bit of a lottery on the referee front, but it's a measure of how bad things have got in this country when you consider that it'll be no more a lottery in European matches this season than it will be domestically. For those reasons, I'll be going for a home win to get us 3 points on the board, and I'll be therefore sending the £2.50, which I was going to send in to double the PGMOL development budget, down the digital hotline to Mr. Winston for it to be placed on a 3-1 win to us. Enjoy the game.
So we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.